Commercial casinos across the United States pull in over $60 billion in gaming revenue every single year. In Macau, a tiny peninsula off the coast of southern China, that number once hit $45 billion in a single year from gambling alone. But to understand where that money goes, you have to look past the games on the floor. A casino does not actually sell games. What it sells is entertainment, excitement, luxury, and time. It sells a temporary experience of possibility. The blackjack table, the roulette wheel, the slot machine, those are simply mechanical tools. Their only purpose is to slowly and mathematically convert the customer's emotional state into a reliable revenue stream over the hours they spend inside the building. The math behind those tools is airtight. The house edge is an absolute certainty over a large enough sample size. So if a casino is essentially a mathematically perfect machine for extracting cash, how is it possible for one to fail? In 2012, the Revel Casino opened in Atlantic City. It cost $2.4 billion to build. The developers misjudged their target demographic, took on high-interest loans, and immediately struggled to hit their required daily revenue thresholds. 2 years later, the property was sold at auction for $82.4 million, less than 4 cents on every dollar spent to build it. A perfectly structured game does not guarantee a functional business. Behind the flashing lights and mathematical certainty of the gaming floor lies a highly fragile corporate structure, constantly fighting to keep the doors open. The foundation of that corporate structure relies on minimizing variable costs. Live table games require dealers, pit bosses, and chip runners. Slot machines require almost zero staff, occupy a fraction of the floor space, and run continuously day and night. In the United States, they generate between 60 and 80% of total gaming revenue. This animation shows the exact psychological mechanism slot machines use to keep players in their seats, known as a loss disguised as a win. A player wagers $2 across 20 pay lines. The machine pays back 60 cents on 2 of those lines. Lights flash and the screen celebrates, even though the player just experienced a net loss of $1.40. The audio-visual feedback overrides the brain's rational accounting, prompting the player to extend their session. Over on the table games, operators changing the fundamental rules of the games themselves. This side-by-side comparison shows the impact of a recent shift in blackjack payouts. Traditionally, hitting a natural blackjack paid 3-2, turning a $100 bet into $150. Thousands of casinos have now switched to a 6-5 payout, returning only $120 on that same bet. That single tweak increases the house edge by 1.4%, quietly generating tens of millions in additional annual revenue. Every action you take is tracked and quantified. Casinos rely on a formula called THEO, or average daily theoretical loss. By multiplying your average bet size by the speed of the game, the time you play, and the house edge, the casino calculates precisely how much money they expect to win from you before you ever leave the table. When you receive a free hotel room or a steak dinner, it is a calculated investment. Casinos standardly return 15 to 35% of a player's expected THEO in the form of comps. The free meal triggers a sense of psychological reciprocity, making the player more likely to stay longer and raise their bets. They spend $25 in dining credit to secure a relationship mathematically worth $168. At the micro level of individual bets, rule changes, and con formulas, the casino floor is an inescapable, flawlessly optimized mathematical trap. But that micro-level perfection is required to fund staggering barriers to entry. Building a Las Vegas-style mega-resort starts at $1.5 billion. Marina Bay Sands in Singapore cost $5.6 billion to open. Even before pouring concrete, non-refundable license application fees and mandatory minimum capital investments quickly cross the $500 million mark. Once the doors open, the daily burn rate is relentless. Major integrated resorts spend upwards of $2.5 million every single day just to keep the HVAC systems conditioning millions of square feet of air and the massive staff paid. That money is spent regardless of how many guests walk through the door. Processing hundreds of millions of dollars in physical cash requires a surveillance infrastructure with no parallel in normal hospitality. Casinos employ AI software to monitor dealer behavior, facial recognition to track known cheats at the doors, and radio frequency identification inside the high-denomination chips themselves. It costs tens of millions of dollars annually just to protect the liquidity on the floor. Then there is the volatility of the VIP customer. A single high roller playing baccarat can wager $10 million over a weekend. Because of the sheer size of the bets and the statistical variance of the game, that single player going on a hot streak can win $20 to $30 million, completely wiping out a casino's quarterly earnings in a matter of hours. Even if the tables run perfectly, modern external threats can shut the entire operation down. In 2023, hackers made a 10-minute phone call to MGM Resorts' internal IT help desk and obtained network access. They encrypted over 100 server systems, slot machines went offline, and room keys stopped working. The resulting 10-day disruption cost MGM approximately $145 million. Finally, operators are at the complete mercy of regulatory bodies. When the UK government recently announced an increase to the remote gaming tax rate from 21% to 40%, Entain, one of the largest gambling companies in the world, immediately announced the elimination of 500 jobs globally to offset the hit to their margins. Between hackers, high-variance whales, massive daily fixed costs, and sudden tax hikes, the external vulnerabilities of running a casino completely overwhelm the safety of the mathematical edge on the floor. This waterfall chart breaks down $3 billion in casino revenue. First, massive chunks drop off for operating costs and heavy gaming taxes. Next, operators subtract interest on construction loans and fixed lease payments for the buildings. Ultimately, they might keep just $100 million as actual profit. To survive on these razor-thin final margins, the companies that thrive stop acting like simple gambling halls. They operate as massive, diversified global hospitality and entertainment corporations, balancing digital apps, concert venues, and convention centers. When a customer sits down at a table, they are not gambling against the house. They are gambling against probability, and over time, probability always wins. But the people who own the casino are gambling against capital markets, tax authorities, regulators, and economic cycles. The absolute biggest, most dangerous wager inside any casino belongs entirely to the people who built it.